This is Shay. Shay was a spirited 6-year-old with a heart full of wonder. Every day was a new adventure waiting to unfold. One magical afternoon, Shay was exploring his enchanted backyard with his trusty magnifying glass. He was on a quest to find mystical bugs and sparkling rocks. Suddenly, Shay gasped in astonishment. Beneath a bush, something sparkled with a magical glow. It was a tiny, enchanted door, just the size of his hand. The door shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow, like a portal to another world. With a heart full of curiosity, Shay reached out and touched the magical doorknob. The tiny door creaked open. Whoosh! A cascade of shimmering light burst forth. Shay squeezed his eyes shut. The light danced and tickled his nose. When he opened his eyes, the world had transformed. The trees towered above, lush and vibrant. The air was filled with the sweet scent of flowers and sunshine. Shay peeked through the tiny door. Wow! He beheld a land of enchantment. It was filled with towering trees, sparkling waterfalls, and dinosaurs. Shay's eyes widened in awe. Dinosaurs danced all around. Shay marveled at a towering Brachiosaurus, gracefully nibbling leaves from the treetops. He chuckled as a merry band of Compsognathus scampered by, their tiny feet tapping a joyful rhythm. They were so petite, even smaller than Shay himself. A majestic Stegosaurus strolled by, its plates shimmering like magical mirrors in the sunlight. Shay was spellbound. He had only seen these wondrous creatures in the pages of his books, but now they stood before him, as real and enchanting as a dream come true. Then Shay heard a soft, magical crying sound. It was faint at first, almost like a whisper carried by enchanted winds. Shay paused, his ears straining to catch the sound again. The forest, usually filled with the cheerful chirping of birds and rustling leaves, now held a note of sorrow, a sound that tugged at his heartstrings. He followed the sound, his curiosity piqued and his heart fluttering with anticipation. As he moved closer, the crying grew louder, more distinct, like a melody of sadness. Shay pushed through the underbrush, his eyes scanning the forest floor. And then he saw it, a baby dinosaur, all alone and looking utterly lost. The little creature was huddled under a large fern, its tiny body shaking with sobs. It was a Triceratops, but much smaller than the others Shay had seen in books and movies. This one was no bigger than a large dog, with a frill that was still soft and not fully developed. Its eyes were wide and filled with tears, and it looked up at Shay with a mixture of fear and hope. This one was just Shay's size. He couldn't believe his eyes. He had always dreamed of seeing a dinosaur up close, but he never imagined it would be like this. The baby Triceratops was just as tall as Shay's waist, and it seemed to sense that Shay was a friend. The baby dino had big, sad eyes. He was crying, and each tear that fell seemed to make Shay's heart ache even more. The little Triceratops looked so vulnerable, so in need of comfort. Shay knelt down beside it, reaching out a hand to gently stroke its frill. He had lost his mommy. The realization hit Shay like a ton of bricks. The baby dinosaur was all alone in the vast forest, separated from its family. Shay knew that feeling all too well. He had been lost once too, and the memory of that fear and loneliness came rushing back. "Don't cry, little fella," Shay said gently, his voice soft and soothing. He wanted to reassure the baby dinosaur, to let it know that it wasn't alone anymore. "I'll help you find your mommy, I promise." The baby Triceratops seemed to understand, its sobs quieting as it looked up at Shay with hopeful eyes. He knew how it felt to lose his mommy, even for a little while. Shay's own mother had once been lost in a crowd, and the panic he had felt was something he would never forget. He couldn't bear the thought of this little dinosaur feeling the same way. He had to help. He decided to help the baby dinosaur find his way home. Shay stood up, offering his hand to the little Triceratops. "Come on," he said with a smile. "Let's go find your mommy." The baby dinosaur hesitated for a moment, then took a tentative step forward, trusting Shay to lead the way. Together they set off through the forest, determined to reunite the baby Triceratops with its family. Shay soon discovered the little dinosaur's name was Tiny, a name as enchanting as the forest itself. Tiny was too frightened to venture out alone in the magical woods. So, with a heart full of courage, Shay gently scooped him up. They soon arrived at a steep rocky hill that seemed to touch the sky. It looked like a perilous climb, especially with a baby dinosaur in his arms. "Fear not, Tiny," Shay whispered. "I will protect you with all my might." With determination, he began the climb, each step a testament to his bravery. Shay held Tiny close, ensuring not a single slip on their magical journey. At last, they reached the enchanted hilltop. Shay gazed upon a majestic herd of Triceratops in the shimmering distance. He knew Tiny's heart belonged with them, but a challenge awaited. A wide, rushing river sparkled between them and the herd. Shay knew he couldn't carry Tiny across the magical waters. It was too perilous. He had to conjure a plan quickly. Suddenly, he spotted a fallen log, like a gift from the forest. It stretched across the river, forming a natural bridge. It wasn't very sturdy, but it was their only hope. Shay tiptoed across the log, his heart fluttering with each step. The log shimmered with morning dew, turning each movement into a dance of balance and bravery. The river below whispered softly, a gentle reminder of the adventure's stakes. Shay's eyes sparkled with determination as he focused on the other side, where safety and magic awaited. He took a deep breath, steadying himself, and moved forward with a heart full of courage. Tiny, the adorable little dinosaur, clung to Shay's back with tiny claws that felt like a comforting hug. Tiny's presence was a magical reminder of why Shay was on this enchanting journey. He could feel Tiny's warm breath on his neck, a silent cheer to keep going. The log wobbled and swayed under their combined weight, creaking like an old enchanted bridge. Each step sent ripples through the wood, making it feel like the log could vanish into thin air at any moment. Shay's heart raced, but he knew he couldn't let fear win. He focused on his breathing, taking slow, deliberate steps, as if he were walking on a path of stars. Shay held on tight, his fingers gripping the rough bark like a lifeline. He could feel the texture of the wood, each groove and bump grounding him in the magical moment. His determination was unwavering. He was not just crossing a log, he was on a quest to reunite Tiny with his family. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he made it to the other side. Relief and joy washed over him as his feet touched solid ground. He turned to look back at the log bridge, a sense of triumph swelling in his chest. He had done it. He had crossed the bridge of dreams. Without wasting a moment, he dashed towards the Triceratops herd, his legs pumping with renewed energy. The sight of the majestic creatures grazing peacefully filled him with awe. They were enormous, yet gentle, and their presence was a testament to the wonders of this magical world. Tiny, safe and sound in his arms, chirped happily. The little dinosaur seemed to sense that they were close to home. Shay could feel Tiny's excitement, and it mirrored his own. They were almost there. The reunion was within sight. A big mommy Triceratops saw them and came rushing over. It was Tiny's mom. Her eyes sparkled with recognition and relief. She let out a low, rumbling call, a sound that seemed to vibrate through the ground like a magical spell. Shay could see the joy in her eyes as she approached. She was overjoyed to have her baby back. The reunion was heartwarming. Tiny's mom nuzzled him gently, her large head moving with surprising tenderness. It was a moment of pure joy and relief, a family brought back together by magic. She nuzzled Tiny gently with her big head, her eyes closing in contentment. Tiny responded with happy chirps, snuggling into his mother's embrace. It was clear that they shared a deep bond, one that transcended words and was woven with magic. Shay knew it was time to go home. He watched the touching scene for a moment longer, feeling a mix of happiness and sadness. He had grown attached to Tiny in the incredible world of dinosaurs, but he also knew he had to return to his own world. He hugged Tiny goodbye and promised to visit again soon. The little dinosaur nuzzled him back, as if understanding the promise. Shay felt a lump in his throat as he pulled away. This wasn't just a goodbye. It was a promise of future magical adventures. He turned and ran back to the little door, his heart heavy but hopeful. The door was a portal between worlds, a gateway that had brought him to this enchanting place. He knew that stepping through it meant leaving behind the dinosaurs, but it also meant he could return someday. He waved goodbye to his new dinosaur friends, his hand lingering in the air. The dinosaurs watched him with curious eyes, as if they too understood the significance of the moment. Shay felt a connection with them, a bond forged through shared magical experiences. Then, with a last look at the amazing dinosaur world, he took in the sights one more time. The lush greenery, the towering dinosaurs, the sense of wonder and adventure, it was all etched into his memory. He knew he would carry these magical memories with him forever. He stepped back through the door, feeling a mix of emotions. As the portal closed behind him, he knew that this was not the end, but just the beginning of many more magical adventures to come. Shay smiled, ready for whatever awaited him back home. Shay found himself back in his own backyard. The familiar sights and sounds of home surrounded him, but his heart was still dancing with the magic of his recent adventure. He could hardly believe that just a short while ago, he had been in a land filled with dinosaurs, making friends and exploring a world that seemed straight out of a fairy tale. The sun was setting, casting a spell of orange and purple across the sky. The colors were so enchanting, they reminded Shay of the vibrant landscapes he had seen in the dinosaur land. The sky seemed to be painting a magical picture just for him, a beautiful end to an unforgettable day. He looked around for the little door, but it had vanished like a whisper in the wind. Shay smiled, knowing that the door might reappear when he least expected it. He felt a sense of wonder and anticipation, dreaming about the possibility of more magical adventures in the future. He knew he would never forget his adventure in the land of the dinosaurs. The memories of the friendly creatures, the lush, enchanted landscapes, and the thrilling moments were etched in his mind. He could almost hear the roars and feel the ground tremble beneath his feet as he thought back to his time there. Shay went inside and told his family all about his magical day. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he recounted every detail, from meeting Tiny to the daring rescue mission. His family listened with rapt attention, hanging on to his every word. They listened carefully as he described the friendly dinosaurs. Shay's parents exchanged amused glances, clearly enjoying their son's vivid imagination. His siblings were wide-eyed with wonder, picturing the incredible scenes Shay was describing, and how he rescued Tiny. Shay acted out the scenes with enthusiasm, making his family laugh and cheer. He felt a sense of pride and joy, knowing that his adventure had brought so much happiness to his loved ones. Shay knew he would always remember his magical adventure, and he often found himself daydreaming about it. He wondered what Tiny and the other dinosaurs were doing now, and if they were thinking about him too. And his special friendship with a little dinosaur named Tiny. He cherished the small dinosaur toy he had, pretending it was Tiny, and reliving their adventures together. The toy became a symbol of their bond and the incredible journey they had shared. He couldn't wait for his next adventure. Shay's heart was full of excitement and hope. He knew that the world was full of endless possibilities, and he was ready to embrace whatever came next. With a smile on his face and a twinkle in his eye, Shay looked forward to the future, eager for more magical moments and unforgettable experiences.